Subcommittee. Our first item for today is item number 1, AB 775. Mr. Chu, when you're ready. And for this item, we're going to conduct the hearing in a little different way. We will be allowing 15 minutes for each side to present, and following each side, then I will ask folks who are wanting to weigh in on the bill to come to the microphone, say your name, your affiliation, and that you support or oppose the bill. But we will not be taking further testimony after the 15 minutes, and you don't have to take the 15 minutes, but I will allow up to 15 minutes for a presentation on both the proponents and opponents of the bill. So, Mr. Chu.
Thank you, Mr. Chair and colleagues, and I appreciate your consideration of AB 775, the Reproductive Fact Act, and I also want to thank the committee consultants for their thorough analysis of our bill. Our state and our California legislature has had a long legacy of protecting a woman's constitutional right to choose, established by the Supreme Court in Roe v. Wade. This bill continues that legacy by ensuring that women can make reproductive choices based on information that is scientifically accurate and timely. Unfortunately, we have seen a rapidly growing number of organizations who've tried to pass themselves off as women's medical clinics while providing false information and risking delays to critical early care. In California, for example, we've seen over 160 of these so-called crisis pregnancy centers. Our state has a compelling state interest to make sure that all pregnant women have timely access to health care when it comes to pregnancy-related services, whether prenatal care or an abortion. These organizations often delay that care, which can lead to complications, serious health outcomes, low birth weight babies, and other negative outcomes. This bill helps to address our state's compelling interests. Since there's been a lot of misinformation about the bill, let me just be clear for a moment about what AB 775 does not do. Our bill does not require referrals to abortion clinics. It doesn't provide a preference to one kind of clinic over another. It doesn't prevent any centers from providing current ongoing services, and it doesn't discriminate on the basis of viewpoint or religion. What does our bill do? Our bill requires licensed facilities to provide a simple notice that free or low-cost public programs are available for comprehensive family planning services, prenatal care, and abortion services. And our bill also requires unlicensed families to provide a simple notice that its facilities are unlicensed and that there are no licensed medical providers on staff. This bill has been drafted based on other laws upheld by the courts, and I want to take a moment and thank the Attorney General's office, who's represented here today, for working with our office to ensure that the language is consistent with constitutional law and that AB 775 will withstand judicial scrutiny. I want to thank the diverse group of health providers, women's organizations, religious groups, community leaders, as well as our co-authors, Speaker Tony Atkins, members Rendon and Dr. Wood. I also want to take a moment and thank our co-sponsors, NARAL and Black Women for Wellness. And at this time, I'd like to turn it over to our joint author, Assemblywoman Burke.
Ms. Burke.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Mr. Chair and members. California has been a leader on reproductive rights, and for decades we've worked to protect those rights and preserve access to safe, affordable health care for all women. We've long guaranteed a woman's right to privacy to make her own reproductive choices and have access to basic level of health care. But that right is an empty promise if she lacks the ability to obtain care or services or if she doesn't know about all the options available. Women in California deserve to know about all of their options for family planning and reproductive health care so that they can make truly informed decisions. AB 775 simply ensures that we are getting the accurate and complete information that they need wherever they turn for care. The opposition will claim that this is discrimination and that they are being unfairly singled out. I disagree. With this bill and existing California law, all clinics will be held to the same standard and all patients will have access to clear, timely information about their health care rights. I respectfully request your aye vote.
Thank you. And we're going to pause here for a moment and establish a quorum.
Stone.
Here.
Wagner.
Here.
Alejo. Chow.
Here.
Chu.
Here.
Gallagher. Garcia.
Here.
Holden. Mainshine. O'Donnell.
Here. Thank you. We do have a quorum. Please proceed.
We have a number of witnesses today. I'd like to turn it over to Amy Everett from NARAL.
Thank you very much and good morning. My name is Amy Everett. I'm the State Director at NARA Pro-Choice California. We organize our over 70,000 members in California on behalf of protecting and expanding reproductive freedom. Deciding if or when to have children is a very time-sensitive decision, and women in California need all the information to make the best decisions for themselves and to get prompt access to health care. That's what the Reproductive Fact Act will do. AB 775 makes sure that if women seek care at a facility that does not enroll patients in FPAC or Medi-Cal, they will walk out of that facility with information in hand and a phone number to call so that they can get contraception, prenatal care, or abortion in a timely manner. AB 775 ensures that a woman knows how to access assistance right away for all of her reproductive health options and get medical care without delay. We know California could be doing more. For example, the most recent public data from the San Francisco Department of Public Health shows that women who are on Medi-Cal are 6 times as likely to miss first trimester prenatal care as women on private insurance. If eligible women do not enroll in Medi-Cal early enough in a pregnancy, they may not complete the process in time to have the delivery costs covered. Women need to know about access to care at the time they are seeking services. If they do not receive this information, it can delay their access to care. Women who wait for prenatal care have a higher risk for a preterm or low birth weight baby, which can lead to increased risk of health problems in the long term. Waiting to obtain abortion care means that procedures become more expensive and difficult to obtain, and especially in areas where abortion providers are few and far between. The state has an interest in helping women prevent unintended pregnancies, which means that women need immediate access to affordable contraception and family planning services. This bill does not require statements that imply preference for any reproductive health option. It simply ensures that women receive important information that will empower them to make the best reproductive health care decisions for themselves and their families and receive affordable care. We can all agree women should have complete and accurate information when making critical health care decisions. The Reproductive Fact Act helps make sure that all women get access and information in a timely manner, and NARA Pro-Choice California respectfully asks for your aye vote.
Good morning, Chair and members. I'll be brief. Thank you for the opportunity to testify. My name is Robert Sumner, and I'm Deputy Attorney General working under Attorney General Kamala Harris. I'd first like to apologize that we weren't able to formalize our support on this bill in time for the committee hearing. But I can certainly say that AG Harris supports the intent of this bill, which is certainly a very compelling state interest. Really, at its core, what this bill is about ensuring timely access to health care services, and as part of the AG's mandate, we need to ensure that California continues its legacy for providing protections for Californians that seek urgent care. The intent of AB 775 really goes beyond crisis pregnancy centers and goes into the basic mandate that we have as public servants to ensure that there is never any inhibition to receiving adequate care under the law. AB 775 has been tailored, I think, in recognition of the balance that courts have struck when regulating this type of activity. As it relates to the licensed facilities, we've seen in multiple cases, as recently as Pickup v. Brown and them citing Planned Parenthood v. Casey, one of the landmark cases, that when we're dealing with professional speech in a medical setting like this, there is a First Amendment recognition of the need for the state to have the authority to provide some guidance and regulation for how those medical service information is conveyed. Nothing about this bill does anything to regulate conduct by a medical professional. It has no bearing on whether or not referrals are made or whether or not recommendations are made. It doesn't say anything about the preferability of any particular option. It merely makes sure that every patient or every client is aware that those options are available. While it's content-based, the viewpoint neutrality and the very compelling state interest, which I believe Ms. Everett made very clear, makes this bill something that we should all be proud to support, and I'd like to thank you all for considering it today.
Thank you. That completes your presentation? Great. Then I'm going to ask for the next witnesses who are in support of the bill to give your name, your affiliation, and that you support the bill. Okay. Please.
Shannon Smith Crowley, representing the American Congress of Obstetricians and Gynecologists for California, in strong support, and urge your aye vote.
Rebecca Griffin, as an individual, I strongly support this bill. Christina Romero, Planned Parenthood Affiliates of California, and strong support.
Sylvia Solis Shaw on behalf of City of Los Angeles Mayor Eric Garcetti in strong support.
Chelsea Gelbart here representing Black Women for Wellness in strong support.
Eileen Schnitger, Women's Health Specialist of California, strong support of the bill, urging your aye vote.
Zori Whitaker, an individual in complete support of this bill. Thank you.
Sasha Zazie Western, in support of this bill.
Julie Linden, volunteer with Women's Health Specialists, in strong support of this bill.
Elaine Sierra, on behalf of Nevada County Citizens for Choice, in strong support of the bill.
Dennis Garcia with the California Latinas for Reproductive Justice, in strong support.
Carol Moon Goldberg with the League of Women Voters of California, in support. Thank you.
Anyone else in support?
Diana McDonald, Women's Health Specialist, in strong support.
Shireen Dada, Legal Monitor of Women's Health Specialists, in strong support of this bill.
Lindsay Arnaz, Women's Health Specialist, in strong support.
Thank you. Anyone else in support? All right, seeing none, we'll move to the opposition. Please come forward to the table. They'll make room. Thank you. And gentlemen, you have up to 15 minutes for an organized presentation.
Chairman Stone, members of the committee, thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Sheldon Hadley. I'm an attorney in private practice and board chairman of 2 licensed medical pregnancy clinics. Under the Hyde-Weldon Amendment, first enacted in 2005, federal law prohibits a state from discriminating against a health care provider because the health care provider refuses to provide or refer for abortions. A state that discriminates against a health care provider because the health care provider refuses to refer for abortion risks the loss of federal funding for health care related programs. This federal law, also known as a federal conscience protection statute, is contained in a federal appropriations bill and as such has been renewed every year for the past 10 years, including those years when both the House and the Senate were controlled by the Democrats, and has been signed into law by President Obama every year he has been in office. The right of an American to refuse to be involved in an abortion, including the right to be free from the obligation to refer either directly or indirectly for an abortion, is a right with bipartisan support. This right of freedom of conscience has been upheld by the U.S. Supreme Court in numerous cases. AB 775 is about abortion and referrals for abortion. This bill forces all California pregnancy centers to refer for abortion. The bill targets pregnancy centers and pregnancy centers alone. The bill states specifically that the state government must, quote, supplement its own efforts to advise women on how and where to get abortions. The state is ordering the pregnancy centers to supplement the advice the state is currently giving pregnant women. The bill requires a certain notice to be given every client. The notice states in part, quote, California has public programs that provide immediate low and free access to ... abortion. To determine whether to qualify, contact the county social services at, close quote, and then we're supposed to put in a phone number. Clearly, a central purpose of the notice is to advise the client that the state may provide a free or low-cost abortion, and if the client is interested, the client is referred to County Social Services Office with a phone number to begin the process. That is a referral for abortion. The authors of AB 77 know the Hyde-Weldon Amendment prohibits abortion referrals and discrimination or forced abortion referrals, and therefore were careful to avoid using the word referral in the bill. But a rose is still a rose by any other name. Because the Hyde-Weldon Amendment itself does not define refer under the law, the words ordinary and usual meaning is applied. A review of half a dozen well-known standard dictionaries for the word refer shows the following definitions. Quote, mention, quote, allude to, quote, direct the attention of someone to, quote, to turn or direct to a source for information or help, quote, to send or direct for treatment, aid, information, or decision. Under any one of these definitions, AB 775 requires pregnancy centers to refer clients for abortions. AB 775 directs clients to a source for help and information on how and where to get free and low-cost abortions. The word abortion is used 4 times in the bill. In addition to direct reference to abortion services, the bill also refers to family planning services and reproductive decisions, all of which are referrals to services which include the option of abortion. The bill is about abortion. The stated purpose of the bill is to supplement the state's efforts to help women obtain abortions. To force health care providers to make referrals for abortion is illegal under federal law, risking the state's loss of much-needed federal funds for health care, and violates health care providers' right of freedom of conscience. Those were my prepared remarks. I didn't realize I would have so much time, at least in comparison to 3 minutes. So let me give you now some of my offhand remarks. I've been doing work for pregnancy centers for 30 years. All of it's been voluntary. I have seen thousands and thousands of people in our communities that I work in, both the Yuba Sutter area as well as Butte County and Chico. I've been board chairman of the one in Yuba Sutter County for 30 years and the one up in Chico for 20. I don't get paid a penny. I do it all voluntary, and the reason I do it is because I have seen the great results. I have seen so many people helped. This report is a biased report. It's like going into the Ford dealer to find out about Chevys. You're probably not going to get a real good picture. It's not fair. In a court of law, that report would be thrown out. It's hearsay. And to take these centers who have so many thousands of people, so many millions of dollars committed into the communities. I mean thousands and thousands. Our center, just in Yuba Sutter, which is not a real healthy economic base, we see a budget of $400,000. You know where that money comes from? People giving it. Not big corporations, but mom and pops in the community. Thousands of them. And people committing thousands and thousands of hours. And to take that because NARAL, National Abortion Rights, says that we're not doing a good job is phony. And again, it's just like going to the Chevy dealer. They could pour out all the recalls Ford has had, all the problems Ford has had. Well, yeah, we're not perfect. Is anybody in this room perfect? I run a law office for 30 years. I've made mistakes. I've had my secretary from time to time say something that she probably shouldn't say. I probably said things that I shouldn't have said. I've got my law clerk. He sometimes says things that he shouldn't say. Does that make it I should be subject to regulation for everything I say? Most of these centers have medical directors. They are doctors that oversee, and their licenses are on the line. And for the judiciary to step in, or the legislator to step in and say, this is the way we want you to do your job, that isn't right. Most of our clients come from referrals. We keep stats on where our clients are coming from, and I look at them every single month, and I have for 30 years. And I can tell you, I can testify, I can swear under oath that the vast majority of the clients in the centers I deal with come from referrals. We don't have large advertising budgets. We're running off of donations. So people are coming back because they like us, because we do a good job. And to impose this upon us and to violate our conscience. I got a conscience, and this violates my conscience. And that isn't right.
I'm going to ask the audience not to please interrupt the speakers.
And it is a big deal. I'm doing this not because I'm being paid. I'm giving thousands of hours to this, not because I'm being paid, but because of my own conscience, because of my own heart, because of my own dedication. And for the government to come in and say, Hadley, this is the way you'll do it, violates my conscience. I shouldn't be required to refer for abortion. I do not think abortion is a good thing. And I could sit here and debate that with anybody all day long, and a lot of good data on it. But of course, that's another day and another time. But the point is that I have the right. That's what so much of America is about. That minorities, if I'm a minority, my rights are protected too. We don't just protect the rights of the majority. And whether I have a view that might be a little bit different than yours, I still have the right for my mind to be protected, my heart to be protected, my conscience to be protected. That's what makes America great, that we just don't say the majority gets their way and we roll over those that disagree. And we do provide timely access. In fact, many of these ladies that come in, they haven't even gotten Medi-Cal yet. We do so much referral for Medi-Cal. Oh my gosh. We do all kinds of referral for Medi-Cal. We've got a whole book that's nothing but our referral book. It's got all kinds of referral information in it. So the idea that we're taking away from women getting timely health care is just the opposite. We, in fact, are often the first place they go, and we get them medical care right away to the extent we don't have it.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. Is it 15 minutes per speaker or 15 minutes per side?
Per side.
Because I'm wondering whether Mr. Snyder might have anything to add to this before the time expires.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, good morning. My name is Kevin Snyder. I'm with Pacific Justice Institute, where I serve as Chief Counsel. If there's any fixed star in our constitutional constellation, it is that no official, high or petty, can prescribe what shall be orthodox in politics, religion, or other matters of opinion, or force citizens to confess by word or act their faith therein. The U.S. Supreme Court penned those words 70 years ago. They're still true today. This committee has an obligation as a Judiciary Committee to protect that principle. You have an obligation through your oath of office, to stand for the First Amendment, for speech and for conscience. When the government requires a party to advertise its message, such is compelled speech. But not all compelled speech is unconstitutional. There can be compelling interests. There can be, as long as they're narrowly tailored or show the least restrictive means. But the cases involving compelled speech, the constitutional question hinges upon context. A court recently had occasion to review an ordinance with striking similarities to AB 775 passed by New York lawmakers. Like the present bill, clinics were required to provide to women a bare-bones government message. On this key question of context, the court found that it is part of, quotes, a public debate over the morality and efficacy of contraception and abortion, for which many of the facilities regulated by the law provide alternatives, end quotes. That's the context. We all agree with that. That is precisely the context in which AB 775 rests. In striking down the main portions of the law, the court noted that expression on public issues has always rested on the highest rung of the hierarchy of First Amendment values. AB 775 requires crisis pregnancy clinics to affirmatively advertise for the government. The notice in the bill, as presently drafted, provides no clarification that the government is the speaker rather than the clinic. As written, the notice advising women relative to contraception and abortion leads to the false perception that the speech comes from the clinic itself. Please read the notice. Read the notice. Ironically, the bill's analysis claims that the object is to prevent, quote, deceptive practices. Make no mistake, it is the notice that is a deceptive practice. Mr. Chairman, in view of the time constraints, I ask that my written remarks be included in the record, and I urge this body vote nay on this bill. Thank you for your deliberation and your service to the community.
Thank you. Does that conclude your presentation?
I believe we're out of time. I don't know. I understand we're out of time. Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. I'm now going to open it up to members of the audience who would like to come up and address this committee. Again, please give your name, your affiliation, and that you oppose the bill. This is those who are opposed to the bill. Please.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Brian Johnston with the National Right to Life Committee and the California Pro-Life Council. We urge a no vote on this bill. Thank you.
Carol Dodds, Executive Director of A Woman's Friend Pregnancy Medical Clinic in Yuba City and Marysville. I, along with our 5,000 supporters, urge you to vote no on the bill.
I'm Angela Bennett with the SCV Pregnancy Center, representing 3,000 supporters who urge you to vote no on AB 775.
Good morning, Assembly members. Jeanette Kaipoff, representing over 5,100 supporters with Women's Pregnancy Care Clinic of Whittier and Pasadena communities, urging you to vote no.
Carissa Metcalf, strongly urging you to vote no on AB 775.
Kelsey Gergens, please vote no on AB 775.
Ilona Anderson, please vote no on AB 775.
Joy Johnson, 33 years as an RN here in California. I urge you to vote no on AB 775.
Denise Nix, professional clinical counselor. I urge you to vote no on this bill.
Kathy Seepy, CEO of Living Well Medical Clinic, and I and our 3,700 supporters oppose this bill.
Marie Leatherby with the Sacramento Life Center, representing our 10,000 supporters. We urge you to vote no on this bill.
Elizabeth White, Living Well Medical Clinic. I urge you to vote no.
Mary Sari, retired nurse. Please vote no.
Lynn Fuller, Executive Assistant, Sacramento Life Center. Please vote no.
Maxine with A Woman's Friend Pregnancy Center Clinic in Marysville. I urge you to vote no. Thanks.
Kristen Bird, post-abortive woman. I urge you to vote no on 775.
Michelle Gonzalez, registered diagnostic sonographer. I urge you to vote no.
Good morning. Brenda Dowden, Chico, California, Executive Director, Women's Resource Clinic. 10,000 supporters. Please vote no.
Jamie Prince, I strongly urge you to vote no on AB 775.
Blaine Wittig, Options for Women, representing 3,000 supporters. I urge you to vote no.
Melissa Dean, I urge you to vote no.
Cindy Brosi Van Grunau, J. Raffe Medical, Eureka, California. I oppose this bill.
Cindy Gates, a post-abortive woman. I urge you to vote no on this bill.
Marcia Cecil, former Executive Director for A Woman's Friend Crisis Pregnancy Center. I urge you to vote no.
Frank Cecil, volunteer and supporter of the women's right to choose. I ask that you vote no on this.
Barbara Mejia, A Woman's Friend Pregnancy Resource Clinic in Marysville, also post-abortive. I urge you to vote no.
Damaris Burrell, Vice President of the Board of A Woman's Friend Pregnancy Resource Center, post-abortive woman, and I strongly urge you to vote no on this bill.
Cindy Alon, Director of Development, Women's Resource Clinic, Chico, and I urge you to vote no.
Hi, good morning. My name is Leslie Lewis, and I'm asking you to vote no.
Judy King here for Catholic Advocacy Days. I urge you to vote no on this bill. Thank you.
Leilani Freitas. I'm opposed to Board of Women, Chico, Respect for Life Committee. I urge you to vote no, please.
Mary Waldorf, representative of Chico Respects Life, 1,000 supporters. I urge you to vote no.
Leslie Foss, 40 Days for Life Sidewalk Counselors and Post Board of Women. I urge you to vote no.
Winnette Sills, Californians for Life, with members in each of your districts, we strongly urge a no vote on this bill.
I'm Hannah Costin, a San Francisco resident, and I strongly urge you to vote no on this bill.
My name is Isaac Costin. I'm also a San Francisco resident, and I urge you to vote no on this bill.
Renelle Calla, registered nurse, also a San Francisco resident. I urge you to vote no.
My name is Chastity Ronan. I am also a San Francisco resident. I am the executive director of Alpha Pregnancy Center, representing over 5,000 supporters and over 7,000 women who have received our support. We urge you, please vote no.
My name is Diane Stone. I'm a registered nurse and nurse manager for Tracy Pregnancy Resource Center, and I strongly urge you to vote no for this bill.
I am Ruth Van Hall, a registered nurse, and I urge you to vote no on AB 775.
I am Dr. Bernard Van Hall, a medical physician at Women's Friend, Marysville, California. I urge you to vote no.
Hi, I'm Judy Morozinski, registered nurse, volunteer at a Women's Friend in Marysville. Please vote no.